Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you. It is so nice to be back. I know I don't look perfect. I know I need a haircut. I know I could look better, but I've been really sick for a week and a half, and that's why I haven't really been making any videos. And last week I had to see a doctor 3 times. I had to go to the emergency room, and I had to have some testing done. And good news is I'm better now. It feels fantastic, but I had to... I just got my bill from the emergency room here, or akuten in Sweden, so I thought it'd be fun and interesting to talk about the difference between the medical system here in Sweden versus the United States, since I got a really good look at everything. And first of all, I got my bill from the Swedish emergency room. It was 200 crowns, which is about 25 to 30 US dollars. You know, when people say universal healthcare, they automatically think it's 100% free. But in the Swedish system, you have to pay a small copay of around 200 crowns until you hit this cap rate of 150 US dollars, basically. And it's the same for medication. So if you're really sick, you're looking at your total cost for your insurance to being probably, not insurance, sorry, but the total cost of Swedish system may be costing you $300, $350 if you're someone that's older, for example, or a pensioner, someone that's retired. So it's not that crazy. Whereas in the United States system, if you have insurance, it might completely cover it, or it might cost you between 50 to 150 US dollars copay. But if, you know, the giant elephant in the room is there's a lot of people in the United States that are poor and can't afford insurance at all, and their visits can cost anywhere from $150 to about $3,000. And in some cases, if it's really, really serious, maybe a bad car accident, you need surgery and all this stuff, you're looking at almost 20,000 US dollars. On top of that, there's a lot of people in the United States where they might have something that's very serious, but they're afraid to go and see the doctor because they can't afford it. And so you'll have people that either wait, and then by the time they get there, it's so serious, or they just end up dying because they won't go to the emergency room out of fears. And, you know, I think that's interesting that in 2019, in a civilized country that we are in the United States, that we have to have that as an issue. On top of that, you have some people that have died because they couldn't get insulin, or they're going to Canada to get it because it's cheaper. And that is also not necessarily the best thing. I had to get a spinal tap procedure done last week where they put a needle in your back. I had to get all kinds of blood testing and, like I said, the spinal fluid. And I'm guessing that's not a very cheap procedure to do. But again, it only cost me 25, 30 US dollars. I saw a doctor 3 times, if you add all my visits up, doctor visit, spinal tap, the emergency room, and we're looking at the total cost for me costing between $65 to $70 to get everything I needed and all the help I needed. And I just think without insurance in the United States, that wouldn't be a possibility. So one good thing about the Swedish system is no matter what your class is, because yes, there's poor people in Sweden, yes, there's rich people in Sweden, most people are in the middle, but everybody kind of experiences the same health care. Where in the US, your money is the way that it helps you. If you got the money for it, you can see some of the best doctors and things in the world. Now, there's some advantage to that because it is very nice in the United States to have the choice. And one thing I will say about the US system over the Swedish system is I do think that our system is faster if you can afford it. If you can afford it, you're going to see a doctor relatively quickly. We also have these things called urgent care, which is like an emergency room, but it's like a private business emergency room. So like if you break an arm or a leg, or you need to see a doctor and it's a little bit less serious, or you just want, it's like almost like a walk-in place you can go, even if you don't have an appointment. Now, it might cost a little bit more, but you can go and do that, and maybe you don't have as long of a wait. My emergency room visit wait was maybe an hour and a half. They do it in Sweden based on how important they think it is. So if they think it's very, very serious, they bring you in right away. Luckily for me, I ended up being okay, but I'm happy that I went to the emergency room either way because I was very, very nervous about it. So that's one thing I will say. I will say the other thing is in Sweden, and maybe people will disagree with me here, but I think in the Swedish healthcare system, you have to be a little bit of a squeaky oil to get the help faster. I just think that's because the system is a little bit on it. It's really, there's a shortage for nurses and doctors. There's a lot of people trying to work there, and so they're trying to see people on a need basis, where in the United States, because it's a little bit more of a business, you're going to get in and see your doctor. So those are like the only 2 negative things I would say about the Swedish system. I would say overall, though, they're very, very, the way the system here works in Sweden is better, I think, because everybody pays. Yeah, it comes out of my taxes and everything else, but to not have to stress when you go and see the doctor, to not worry about the financial aspect of it is awesome. Where I know people personally in my family or friends, they got cancer, and the financial burden. Imagine being sick, right? And then on top of that, you're looking at the financial costs of it. So not only are you sick, but it's also costing you money, and you don't know how you're going to afford it. Imagine, just think about what stress does to your body to begin with. It's not healthy to be sick and then stressed on top of it. And that is one thing I hope we can fix in the United States. I think that as Americans, we have to be a lot healthier, but we have to prioritize it as well. Okay, maybe we can't afford it right away, but if we can cut the cost by half, maybe we can look at some of the things we're doing as far as the prices of medication, the profit side of things. Yes, it's interesting. You maybe need a profit to have the incentive to make drugs, to make money. But there has to be a cutoff point a little bit, because at the same time, overscribing prescription drugs to people, for example, or just the costs of the medical system in the United States, the profit that goes into it, it's evil, if I may say. It's evil. Like, to do that is just horrible. One last thing I will say is I think the Swedish doctors are awesome. I think the United States system is one of the top in the world as far as the doctors and medical procedures you can see. It's just not everybody has the advantage to it. And I think you judge a society based on how it takes care of the weakest and the sickest and the oldest. And I think that's something that we can look at as Americans together on how to make it better. That being said, the Swedish system isn't perfect. And I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's not. But overall, I was happy in the end with everything. I'm happy to be healthy again. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got, guys. I'm really happy to see you. For those of you that follow my channel still, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Sorry I haven't been able to make a lot of content, but I'm trying to push forward, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hey,